All right, welcome back. Today we're jumping into one of the most, well, foundational chapters in all of literature, really, Genesis chapter 1. And what you're going to find is that this isn't just a list of what God made. No, it's all about the how. It's a story that's absolutely packed with order, rhythm, and a deep sense of divine purpose.
And it all kicks off with this line, right? Probably one of the most famous opening sentences ever. In the beginning. It's simple, it's powerful, and it sets the entire stage. But to really get what's going on here, we have to dig into a couple of the original Hebrew words. They were just loaded with meaning.
Okay, first up is the name for God used right here, Elohim. Now what's fascinating is that this is a plural form. It comes from the root word El, which means strength or power. So right out of the gate, from the very first words, the author is making a huge statement. This creator is one of immense, ultimate power. We're not talking about just a God. This is the God, in the most powerful way you can imagine.
So what does Elohim do? He bara, he creates. And this is so important. This word isn't like, a carpenter making a chair from wood. Bara is special. It's used in the Bible only for what God does, and it means to create something from nothing, ex nihilo. This is a massive theological point, right? It means the raw materials of the universe weren't just floating around with God. He spoke the very substance of it all into existence.
So here's how we're going to walk through this. First, what things were like in the beginning. Then we'll see this really cool two-part structure. First, God forms the world, then he fills the world. After that, we'll get to the creation of humanity in the image of God, and we'll wrap it all up with that famous declaration, "It was very good."
All right, first section. So, before God even says a word, what's the scene? What's the canvas he's working with? Well, the text gives us this really specific, almost poetic picture of what things were like.
It says the earth was toho and bohu. It's this great rhyming phrase in Hebrew, and it paints a picture of, a world that's formless and empty. Think of it like a wild, unordered mass of raw potential. There's no structure. And this is key. It's not described as evil, just incomplete. It's the problem, the chaos, that God's creative work is about to bring order to.
And right in the middle of this formless chaos, we get this amazing image. It says the Spirit of God was hovering over the surface of the waters. Some translations say brooding, like a mother hen over her eggs. It's this picture of active, personal presence, just waiting, poised to unleash order and life.
Okay, so now the action starts. Days 1, 2, and 3 are all about tackling that first problem, the formlessness. God starts bringing order by doing one key thing, separating. He's creating distinct realms, the basic building blocks of the entire cosmos.
And as this happens, you start to notice this really clear pattern, this rhythm. For each day, it goes something like this. God speaks, it happens, he often separates or names things. He looks at it and says, yep, that's good, and then the day is capped off with evening and morning. This repetition, it gives the whole chapter this beautiful poetic feel. It's screaming, deliberate, careful design.
So, let's just run through it real quick. Day 1, God creates light and separates it from the darkness. Day 2, he makes the sky by separating the waters above from the waters below. And day 3, he pushes the waters back to let the dry land appear, and then, boom, vegetation. So in just 3 days, you have 3 distinct domains created by 3 acts of separation. The world is no longer formless, it has a structure.
Okay, so the form is there, but remember the second problem? The world was also void, or empty. So the next 3 days are all about filling those spaces that were just created. And honestly, this is where the structure of the chapter just gets so brilliant.
Check this out. It's just so cool. You can see this amazing parallel structure. Day 4 fills what was created on day 1. The sun, moon, and stars fill the realm of light and dark. Day 5 fills day 2's work. Birds in the sky, fish in the sea. And day 6 fills day 3. Animals and humans on the land. See that? Days 1 through 3 are forming. Days 4 through 6 are filling. It's this perfect, intentional literary design.
So on day 4, you get the sun, moon, and stars, the light bearers, put in place to rule the day and the night. Then on day 5, the seas are just teeming with life, and the sky is filled with birds. And here, for the very first time, God gives a blessing. He says, "Be fruitful and multiply." It's this command to go and fill the beautiful spaces he just made for them.
Day 6 keeps it going. God calls out all the land animals, livestock, creepy crawlies, wild animals, to fill up the dry land. And listen for this phrase that keeps popping up, according to its kind. It's another little clue, right? It's emphasizing order, purpose, and distinction. But
The most important part of day 6 is still to come.
You know, the whole chapter has really been building up to this moment. The pacing of the story slows right down, the language totally shifts, because we've reached the absolute peak, the climax of the entire creation story, the creation of humanity.
And the pattern we've been seeing? It breaks. It's not just let there be anymore. Suddenly it's this divine conversation. Let us make man in our image. Who is the us? Theologians have talked about this for centuries. Is it the Trinity? Is God talking to his heavenly court? We don't know for sure. But what's crystal clear is that something completely different, something incredibly special, is about to happen.
And you can see the difference right here. For the animals, God says, let the earth bring forth, or let the waters swarm. It's like he's commanding the creation to produce them. But for humanity, the language gets super personal and direct. It's not let the earth bring forth, it's let us make. It's intimate, it's deliberate. It sets humanity on a completely different level from everything else.
And because humanity's creation is so unique, so is their job description. They get the same blessing to be fruitful and multiply, sure, but then they get this extra mandate to fill the earth, to care for it, and to rule over it as God's representatives, his stewards. They're given authority over the world God just finished making. So now let's zoom out. The universe is formed, it's filled, and humanity is in place to care for it. And at this point, God steps back and takes a final look at everything he's done.
Remember that refrain we heard after almost every day? And God saw that it was good. Each individual piece was good. But now, at the end of day 6, when everything is complete, all the parts working together in perfect harmony, the assessment gets an upgrade. He looks at the whole shebang and says it is very good.
And of course, this whole thing is structured around a 7-day pattern. 6 days of work leading to a 7th day of rest. This idea becomes absolutely foundational for the rest of the Bible, right? This rhythm of work and rest is literally woven into the fabric of creation itself. So, what's the big takeaway from Genesis 1? It's this picture of a universe created with incredible purpose and intention. It's not random. It's a perfectly ordered world where every single part works together in harmony, with humanity placed right at the pinnacle to act as its loving caretakers.
And that brings us to a final thought for you to chew on. That phrase we mentioned, according to its kind. The text just keeps repeating it for the plants and animals. So as you go back and read this chapter for yourself, ask yourself this. What does that constant emphasis on order, on distinction, tell us about the character of God and what he intended for his creation? It's a great question that pushes us to see his design not just in the grand cosmos, but in all the tiny details too.